resulting in the loss of millions of birds and income for poultry industry. We're going to go on a short break. When we return, of course, you know I'm not always alone on well-being. I am here with us this evening will be a veterinarian doctor who will tell us everything that we need to know about bird flu. This is Wellbeing on Spectrum TV. We'll be right back.
Avian influenza or bird flu. Avian influenza is an infectious disease caused by type A virus that primarily affects birds, especially poultry such as chickens, turkeys, and dogs. These viruses are classified based on the ability to cause disease in birds. Low pathogenic avian influenza (LPAI) causes mild symptoms or no symptoms at all in birds, while high pathogenic avian influenza (HPAI) causes severe illness and often death in poultry. The H5N1 strain is one of the most infamous examples of HPAI, responsible for numerous human deaths since its first outbreak in 1997. This particular strain gained international attention for its potential to cause a global pandemic due to its ability to jump from birds to humans. Types of avian influenza: low pathogenic and high pathogenic. Low pathogenic avian influenza (LPAI), often asymptomatic or with mild symptoms in birds. This form of virus rarely results in serious outbreak in poultry. However, it can still cause some economic losses in the poultry industry due to reduced productivity. High pathogenic avian influenza (HPAI). This form is far more dangerous. It leads to sudden death, respiratory distress, and drastic drops in egg production in birds. Some of these strains, such as H5N1, have been linked to human infections, which are often fatal. HPAI strains have historically had higher mutation potential, which is why they raise global alarm. H5N1 is not the only problematic strain, as H7N9, a newer variant, continues to pose a threat to both animals and humans. The World Health Organization has described avian influenza as an infectious disease of animals, usually birds and less commonly pigs, caused by type A strains of the influenza virus. The main reservoir of the virus is wild birds, and in the last 2 decades, it has been seen in commercial and domestic poultry in Asia and Africa. Few cases of transmissions to humans and other mammals have also been documented by United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the WHO. The virus was first reported in one state in Nigeria in 2006. The disease spread to 25 states and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) within weeks. The most recent outbreaks in Nigeria have been reported in late 2020 and early 2021, where the virus affected both commercial poultry farms and backyard birds. In these outbreaks, several states, including Lagos, Kano, and Oyo, have reported confirmed cases. These outbreaks often lead to the culling of infected poultry and a halt in poultry trade to contain the spread. Nigeria's poultry industry have suffered considerable economic losses due to bird flu. The Nigerian government, in collaboration with the World Health Organization and the World Organization for Animal Health, has implemented measures to contain the virus, including surveillance, vaccination campaigns for poultry in high-risk areas, and culling of infected birds. The impact of bird flu extends beyond its effects on animal health and human life. Economically, bird flu outbreaks can be catastrophic, particularly in countries where poultry farming is a significant industry. For example, in 2015, the U.S. faced a devastating H5N2 outbreak that led to the culling of more than 50 million birds, resulting in a loss of approximately $3 billion for the poultry industry. The trade restrictions that followed outbreaks further exacerbated economic losses. On today's show on well-being, we are going to talk extensively on bird flu, how it is transmitted, how it can be controlled, and how it can be prevented with Dr. Surajo Saki, a veterinarian doctor.
Wow, what a lovely report on bird flu. I told you that we're going to have a serious conversation because if you have been looking at the news of recent, lots of birds have been dying due to bird flu. And on today's show on well-being, unveiling our guest for today is a veterinarian doctor in the person of Dr. Zaki. Hello, sir. Good evening and welcome to the show. Okay, while we are still waiting for Dr. Zaki to join us, I told us earlier that we're going to talk about bird flu. Bird flu is something I used to hear of when I was much younger. I know that the birds will have swollen eyes and they'll look extremely dull. But that's what I thought. And on today's show, it's not just going to be a thought; it's going to be a conversation. And joining us on today's show will be a veterinarian doctor, an expert at that, who would lead us, into all the amazing and guidelines that we should take,
Hello,
especially.
everyone.
Okay, I think Dr. Zaki is here. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the show.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you doing today?
I'm very, very fine. How are everything? How is the people at home?
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us on today's show on well-being. So because of time, let us just hit the ground running. Today's conversation,
You're welcome.
today's conversation is on bird flu. So my first question will be, what really is bird flu?
Bird flu, also known as avian influenza, it has so many names, but briefly, it is a contagious and zoonotic viral infection caused by influenza virus. It primarily affects birds, chickens, turkeys, geese, and also it has a potential effect on human beings.
Okay, thank you so much. I know that bird flus are of types. Do you mind explaining the types of bird flus that we have and also their potential impact?
Yeah, we have highly pathogenic and also low pathogenic one. The highly pathogenic one, mostly H5N1, it is the highly pathogenic one that mostly affect human beings.
Okay, so my next will be Dr. Zaki. What are the symptoms of bird flu? How can somebody really spot, a bird that is affected with the flu?
Birds in birds,
Yes, in bird.
mostly the disease manifests so many symptoms, but mostly the symptom that you see and say this is bird flu is respiratory distress.
Okay, so is it that the bird flu
The-
have, yes, can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Okay, now, bird flu, does it affect different species of birds? Are there birds that are immune to this flu, or all the
You are
birds are actually, a victim of this virus?
Well, you are talking about the susceptibility of the disease. So disease usually affects all the birds,
Okay.
poultry, uh, turkeys, geese, dogs, all the poultry are susceptible.
Okay, so how exactly can somebody be infected with the flu? Because I reading reports concerning this particular virus, I heard that human beings are also susceptible to this bird flu. So how true is that?
Yes, it is true. Most especially, as I have said earlier, H5N1, it is a highly pathogenic strain of this virus. And this is the one that has a potential effect on human beings. So there are so many ways that human beings can become infected with this disease
Okay.
through contact with the disease animal, contact with contaminated environment, through eating undercooked poultry meat or poultry product like eggs, and also this disease can be transmittable to other animals. So eating undercooked meat from other animals too, you can become infected.
Okay, but how does the bird flu actually spread among birds? You know, for instance, in human beings, it would be from sneezing, from sharing sharp objects. Now, in terms of animals, how does the flu spread amongst them?
One of the easiest way is through these wild animals.
Okay.
They can maybe come to your poultry house, you don't know, and just drop some droplets of it, and it's usually animals will come become infected through aerosol.
Okay.
And also maybe if you bought a bird from other farm that there is outbreak of disease and brought it to your poultry pen, your animals too become infected.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Zaki. So now I'm just wondering, what are the primary ways the human beings can contract this bird flu? And also, what precautions should people, especially people that own poultry, take in order to minimize these risks?
So my advice would be they should focus on biosecurity. That is protective measures, strategies to protect their animals. Since they are rearing these animals, who will go into the animals, who go out, their farm equipment. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Continue.
Again, biosecurity, they should focus on maybe doctors that used to see their animals, buyers that will buy the animals or eggs or something like that, or any animal products. And also, that is visitation. They should not allow anyone to enter their farm, and they should not go and enter some other people's farm.
Okay, so in other words, hello, Dr. Zaki, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, so
I just explained one. There are so many ways.
okay, no, then go ahead. Tell us at least up to like 6 ways or five.
Oh, okay. And then those people that are with these animals, and also even if you are no, maybe you have one or two chicken in your house, you should be always washing your hands frequently after handling and your animals, or maybe giving them feed, drugs, or anything. Wash your hands properly, and also wear protective clothing like face masks, hand gloves, boots to cover your this thing, your legs while entering into a poultry farm. Or maybe if you are going to buy bird like chicken, while going to the bird market, you have to wear face masks, gloves, and also check around if is there any outbreak of any disease or not. You should be very, very careful about that. And then you should not take undercooked meat. Yeah, you buy your chicken, cook it properly, then before you eat. I think there are some simple,
Okay.
simple ways that maybe you can follow to prevent this.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zaki. So then I'm just wondering, right? How would you know a bird, or is it possible to identify? Because I know that there are two types of, variants of bird flu. We have the asymptomatic, that's we have the low and the high. Now, how would you
Mhm.
know? Yeah, in a poultry, how would you know the bird that is affected or down with the flu?
Sorry, repeat the question. Sorry.
So I'm
How
just
would you know the bird is affected, right?
exactly. Imagine someone that owns a poultry. How would the person spot a bird that is down with the flu?
There are so many symptoms. Firstly, you will see that the bird will be very weak. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, the bird will be very weak. There will be drop in egg production for layers, and if it is broilers, there will not be this what do you call it? Since they are kept for fattening.
Okay. Would that be the only symptoms?
Sorry?
Would that be the only symptoms?
No, no. After that, you see respiratory signs. This is one of the major signs that you will see in avian influenza. Respiratory sign discharges from the nose of the bird, and it will be kind of having difficulty while breathing.
Okay. The symptoms in the bird, is it the same
Yes.
symptoms a human being will also experience, or it differs?
Well, human beings sometimes, animals sometimes do not talk. So there are some signs that you cannot see because, like sore throat. Animal will
Okay.
not tell you it has sore throat, but in human beings there is sore throat, there is
Okay.
muscle ache in human beings. So in animals, we don't use we use the signs we see, and also when examining the animal, maybe if the animal is in front of you, while examining, you as a veterinarian, you might be able to know these are the problem that is affecting this animal. While humans, they will tell you, yes, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling this. So that is
Okay, I would like us to still stay on the human beings. When you say I'm feeling this, what do you mean? What are those symptoms that someone can look at, especially people who are close to these birds? What are those common symptoms that they can look at themselves and say, oh, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm down with the flu.
the symptoms are classified into two. They are mild and severe.
Okay,
Mild one would be fever, cough, sore throat, nausea, vomiting, muscle ache, runny nose, diarrhea, pink eye, and most of respiratory signs.
okay, okay. So for
So you can have one or two signs, maybe not necessarily all these are mentioned. You can have two, three, or four signs.
okay,
So that does not mean that you don't have this disease or you have it. So
okay,
whenever you observe these signs that I've mentioned, fever, you are coughing, sore throat, nausea, maybe you are passing diarrhea, and all those things, then you should think of where have you been. Maybe you have an access to previously an access to a bird,
okay,
poultry farm, or market, or something like that.
okay. So, Dr. Zaki, then
While severe one,
okay,
that there will be pneumonia, shortness of breath, and also a respiratory distress, and it can even lead to organ failure.
okay. So, oh, I think we lost Dr. Zaki there. We are actually having a very interesting conversation on bird flu. And you know, all the things that Dr. Zaki is talking about right now, it just gets my heart beating very fast because, you know, anyways, if you notice, the viruses seem to have one type of symptoms. It's either fever, headache, pains in the body, and all. But the most important thing that he said is when you notice these symptoms in your body, he mentioned running nose, pneumonia. He talked about respiratory issues, maybe have difficulties in breathing. If you notice any of these symptoms, you should take your mind back to where was I last night? What have I been eating? You would be able to trace and know if you are down with bird flu or you're down with any other ailment. Dr. Zaki, welcome back to the show. Actually, we are still dwelling on bird flu. So this is my question. You know, most times it could be very,
Okay,
yeah, most times it could be very, very difficult to maybe, I mean, you are wearing like maybe 10 birds and 2 are down with the flu. What if somebody decides to eat that bird because they're scared of losing or just, you know, they're scared of the loss? What if someone decides to eat that bird? Would the person be down with bird flu?
okay. My answer to this question goes like this: if you have birds like 10, 5, or any other numbers like hundreds, depending, and you see one or two is showing some sign like this, the first thing you do is to isolate them.
Okay.
If you isolate them so that they will not be, if maybe these maybe they are infected with this disease, so that they will not be separated to other animals.
Okay.
After you separate them, and maybe you are interested in eating them because you don't want to lose everything, what you are supposed to do is to cook them it, properly,
Okay. So even if
because research has shown that if temperature is about 74 degrees Celsius, it can kill this virus.
oh, so even if the bird has the flu and you cook it properly, there is every possibility that, you know, it's safe to eat. Is that what you're saying?
If you cook it properly, you are
Yes,
safe.
you're safe. Wow. Thank
Yes,
you so much, Dr. Zaki. Okay, so now let's
you're
talk
welcome.
about how bird flu is being diagnosed. What tests are used to confirm the presence of these virus?
So diagnosis of bird flu, it starts with clinical signs. Sorry, history.
Okay.
Maybe history from maybe where you buy the animals, transportation, and going down to the clinical signs. After history, then clinical signs. What are the signs that your animals are manifesting?
Okay.
Then all these are subjective. The objective diagnosis is through lab diagnosis,
Okay.
where you carry sample, take it to the lab, and then lab technician will diagnose and confirm, yes, you are dealing with this virus. And this one, you have to take sample. Sample can be nasal swab or clerical swab from your beds.
Okay, okay. So, Dr. Zaki, I'm just wondering, this test or the vaccines, are there any vaccines that are prepared for in case of any emergency like bird flu? Are there any vaccines that in
Well, 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 you did not ask about vaccine, you just asked about diagnosis. So when going to vaccine, there is vaccine for avian influenza for birds.
okay.
Yes, so if you buy your animals and you are interested in rearing them up to level you want, advisably you have to get vaccine.
Okay, so when you say get vaccines, how is this possible? Are the vaccines free? What are the procedures to get these vaccines?
You can check around any veterinarian and ask him if you maybe found it difficult to have any veterinarian, you should go to any nearest veterinary hospital or clinic. Ask
Okay.
them, I want this kind of vaccine, so I bought this animal and I heard about this kind of disease, so I want them to get vaccinated. So they'll give you vaccine. It's not free, Sha, you have to pay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. We're gonna go
But
on
I
it.
don't know, maybe if there are any other maybe organization or clinic or other person that has maybe offered uh, free vaccine. I don't know. But what I know is you have to buy.
Okay, you have to buy the vaccines. Okay, we're going to go on a short break right now. When we return, we are still having a very interesting conversation with Dr. Zaki, a veterinary doctor who has been educating us more about bird flu. In case you have any questions, you can send it to our social media handles and we will attend to you as soon as possible. After the break, we'll get to discuss the complications of ignoring all the bird flu symptoms that you see either in yourself or in your bird. Don't go nowhere. This is Wellbeing on Spectrum TV.
Avian influenza or bird flu. Avian influenza is an infectious disease caused by type A virus that primarily affects birds, especially poultry such as chickens, turkeys, and dogs. These viruses are classified based on the ability to cause disease in birds. Low pathogenic avian influenza (LPAI) causes mild symptoms or no symptoms at all in birds, while high pathogenic avian influenza (HPAI) causes severe illness and often death in poultry. The H5N1 strain is one of the most infamous examples of HPAI, responsible for numerous human deaths since its first outbreak in 1997. This particular strain gained international attention for its potential to cause a global pandemic due to its ability to jump from birds to humans. Types of avian influenza: low pathogenic and high pathogenic. Low pathogenic avian influenza (LPAI), often asymptomatic or with mild symptoms in birds, this form of virus rarely results in serious outbreak in poultry. However, it can still cause some economic losses in the poultry industry due to reduced productivity. High pathogenic avian influenza (HPAI), this form is far more dangerous. It leads to sudden death, respiratory distress, and drastic drops in egg production in birds. Some of these strains, such as H5N1, have been linked to human infections, which are often fatal. HPAI strains have historically had higher mutation potential, which is why they raise global alarm. H5N1 is not the only problematic strain, as H7N9, a newer variant, continues to pose a threat to both animals and humans. The World Health Organization has described avian influenza as an infectious disease of animals, usually birds and less commonly pigs, caused by type A strands of the influenza virus. The main reservoir of the virus is wild birds, and in the last 2 decades, it has been seen in commercial and domestic poultry in Asia and Africa. Few cases of transmissions to humans and other mammals have also been documented by United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the WHO. The virus was first reported in one state in Nigeria in 2006. The disease spread to 25 states and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) within weeks. The most recent outbreaks in Nigeria have been reported in late 2020 and early 2021, where the virus affected both commercial poultry farms and backyard birds. In these outbreaks, several states, including Lagos, Kano, and Oyo, have reported confirmed cases. These outbreaks often lead to the culling of infected poultry and a halt in poultry trade to contain the spread. Nigeria's poultry industry have suffered considerable economic losses due to bird flu. The Nigerian government, in collaboration with the World Health Organization and the World Organization for Animal Health, has implemented measures to contain the virus, including surveillance, vaccination campaigns for poultry in high-risk areas, and culling of infected birds. The impact of bird flu extends beyond its effects on animal health and human life. Economically, bird flu outbreaks can be catastrophic, particularly in countries where poultry farming is a significant industry. For example, in 2015, the U.S. faced a devastating H5N2 outbreak that led to the culling of more than 50 million birds, resulting in a loss of approximately $3 billion for the poultry industry. The trade restrictions that followed outbreaks further exacerbated economic losses. On today's show on well-being, we are going to talk extensively on bird flu, how it is transmitted, how it can be controlled, and how it can be prevented with Dr. Surajo Saki, a veterinarian doctor.
Welcome back. This is Wellbeing on Spectrum TV. We've been having a serious conversation with Dr. Zaki, and we've been talking about bird flu. He has been so impactful, giving us insightful details that we need to know about bird flu, from the symptoms. If you see this particular thing in your bird, this is what to do. This is how to go about it. So right now I'm going to go to the next question. Dr. Zaki.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, while we are still waiting for Dr. Zaki to, join us on today's show, my next question, really, I'm really concerned. Hello, Dr. Zaki.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Zaki, in your years of experience, right, what advice would you give to people who own poultry? What common mistakes have you seen these people do, and what advice would you give them in order to protect their birds from coming down with the virus?
Well, what people should know about this disease is it is highly zoonotic disease, and it requires immediate medical attention if suspected. The outbreak in birds can lead to outbreaks in humans, which will continue to cause damage in human health and also in animal health. And this will cause a lot of economic loss to the farmers.
Okay. So,
Proper cooking.
yeah, continue.
Yes, proper cooking of meats and also livestock products can help and eliminate or reduce this virus.
Okay. If somebody is down with these symptoms and they get to ignore it, what are the complications of untreated bird flu, both in the bird and in humans?
The complication is mostly antiviral drugs. We don't have more of antiviral drugs. Has it mean that it's a bacterial disease, then we have more of antibiotics that we can give to the animal or person. But as far as veterinarian, we don't have even antiviral drugs for this disease. We are just giving antibiotics so that we help the animal also prevent secondary bacterial infection. But in humans, there are some antivirals that can be given. Though, if person like feel like to ignore it, ignore the signs, and just continue, so there might be high chances of coming down with organ failure and a lot of challenges, health challenges like that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Zaki. So no, a question just crossed into my mind. Is it okay to, vaccinate the birds before the flu even comes to them? For instance, I don't think we have any case of bird flu in Akwa Ibom right now. Now, for somebody who owns a poultry, right, is it okay for them to maybe give the bird a certain kind of antibiotic so that, it could prevent them from coming down with the flu? And also, are there types of antibiotics that you can actually give to birds? Because I've actually seen people who give normal drugs like human being take to birds. So how advisable is that?
Actually, it is very wrong for you just to give your chickens drugs, your animals, just to give them drugs like that. And don't forget, this, as I said, this disease, we don't have a treatment for it. We are giving antibiotics when the animal comes down with disease so that it will help and prevent secondary bacterial infection. So if you buy your animals and then you just started giving them antibiotics, you are causing another problem because they will reach a time whereby this antibiotic, that antibiotic that you have been giving to them will not work. So advisably, if you buy if you bought if you this thing, if you buy animals and then you want to keep them maybe for any purpose, seek for veterinary advice. When should I be giving this animal vaccine? When should I give them drugs? What should I do, and what and what should I avoid?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Zaki. That has been very, very helpful. So my next question will be, I know that, well, I'm going to digress a bit out of bird flu. For somebody who wants to start a poultry, what are the basic steps that they must take in order to make sure that, their birds does not get infected, or they don't get to, receive or administer the wrong kind of food or the wrong kind of drugs to their birds?
Okay, the new farmer maybe just want to start farming. That is
Exactly.
rearing animals, right?
Yes.
Have your poultry farm set to everything set, and then check where you are going to buy your animals. Maybe Ibadan, Kaduna, or anywhere. Check there. Ask them, is there any history of outbreak or anything like that? If you are sure of where the kind of birds you are going to buy, and you are safe, no anything, no any outbreak of any disease or something like that, you can buy your animal, keep them. Then follow vaccine schedule. There is a schedule for vaccination in birds. Follow it, and that's all. And
Okay.
then, as I said earlier, implement biosecurity in your farm or your poultry pen. You should not just allow anyone to enter, anyone to go out, or something like that. You yourself should not be visiting people's poultry houses and then coming back to your poultry again. You are trying to implicate your birds.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Zaki. That has been very, very helpful. I hope to everybody who has intention of starting a poultry, you would follow the advice given to us right now by Dr. Zaki. Now, my next questions will be, right, is bird flu an African virus? Because I read something very funny on social media, but I want you to clarify it for us. Do you think that bird flu is an African, disease? Because reports say that Nigeria was the first place that bird flu was detected. So what's your take on that?
I can't say it's African virus because I had an outbreak around 2000 and is it 14 in US. Confirmed there was outbreak in the United States of this avian influenza. But I'm not sure whether this virus has started from Africa or somewhere. This question, I'm not sure about the answer. Absolutely.
Okay, so now, Dr. Zaki, would you say that I know that, well, I was actually having a conversation with someone before coming on the show, and and the person said that bird flu is a disease commonly found in the northern parts of Nigeria. What's your take on that? Do you think that bird flu is most common in the north, or as it's just a matter of time, the flu will spread to other parts of Nigeria?
Well, I will agree that it is more common in the north because I am from north and I see how our people used to keep their animals, being in poultry or other animals. So there are, I can say, negligence in keeping our animals. We don't used to follow advice. We don't used to call for any medical personnel for any treatment or any attention needed in our farm. We just go ahead and do it. Sometimes you might even see a farm that has thousands of birds, but you don't have a veterinarian that is taking care of those animals. So sometimes negligence will cause this problem.
Okay, negligence. Dr. Zaki actually talked about it. I know that it's something that is very, very common, even down here in the south. Yeah, the only amazing thing now is that we don't have the flu yet, and hopefully we will not have the flu. But then, if you have a poultry, do not think you know everything. You have to reach out to a vegetarian doctor to guide you on how to go about these processes. But then again, Dr. Zaki, you actually talked about negligence. What ways do you think that we can actually renew the mindset of people to open their arms and embrace vegetarian doctors and the help that they have to offer?
Number one is we should know that these animals that we are keeping, they experience pain, the same thing that we are experiencing. So their life too matters. And if we neglect and ignore their lives, it will implicate our lives too, because they have so many diseases that can be transmitted from those animals to human beings. So if we neglect their health issues, human beings too, and environment to become infected with disease. So if you have animal or you are interested in keeping animal, advisably you should seek veterinary attention. You should ask for veterinarian or any other veterinary clinic, follow their advice and their recommendations.
Okay, so I mean, I'm just learning for the first time that, there is a need to include a vegetarian doctor in your poultry journey. What do you think the government is actually trying to do to help people who have birds, but they may not really have the money to, buy or purchase the vaccines? What is the government doing to help? Are there days that there are free vaccines given to people? Is the vaccine on a discount? What do you think the government is doing?
Well, these are the things that government should come in, because anyone that is keeping birds, mostly maybe let's take example as youths that want to build himself or herself. So they started with something like this. So if government can offer help, at least to support this by providing like drugs or any empowerment, so that these people that are trying to help and build themselves, they will continue to grow up.
Okay. Now, for the sake of people that just joining, somebody is actually someone just asked what are the common symptoms of bird flu, and I know Dr. Zaki, you said it earlier, but then I would like you to reiterate it again. What are the common symptoms of bird flu, and how can it be spotted quickly in order to make sure that the birds do not affect other birds?
In birds, the common sign that you see, as I said, is weakness and also respiratory signs. These are the common signs of bird flu, respiratory signs.
Respiratory signs. Thank you so much, Dr.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zaki, for being a part of today's show. But before I let you go, what will be your last advice to people, both those that own a poultry and those that do not? What's your advice? What would you say to them? How would you, encourage them yeah? How would you encourage people not to come down with the virus?
Okay, I think let me give it in this way: do's and don'ts.
Okay.
They should practice good hygiene, cook their meats and other livestock products, egg, milk, cook it properly, milk pasteurize properly, use personal protective equipment like boots, cover shoes, face masks, and then uh, glass, coverall, all these equipment. Report any sick animal or dead animal to the veterinarians or veterinary clinic, and then any person that is maybe showing some kind of sign, quickly take him to the hospital. Implement biosecurity and also get your animals vaccinated. And what people should not do, they should not just touch any sick or dead animal just with bare hands.
Okay.
They should wear gloves. They should stop visiting other poultry pens anyhow, any way they like. They should stop doing that. And they should stop going to live birds market while they are selling birds, chickens, live chicken. They should stop going anyhow without wearing their personal protective equipment. And as I said, they should not take meat, egg undercooked, and they should not ignore the symptoms in both humans and animals.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zaki, for being a part of today's show on well-being. I am so, so grateful. Thank you for all the, the insights that you have given us about how to prevent, control, and, treat bird flu. But then, sorry, before I let you go, I know I said that this was going to be my last question. If a bird is down with bird flu, is there a cure? If a bird is down with bird flu, is there a cure?
Good. As I have said, that for now we don't have a
There is no
specific
cure.
drug for this disease. But what we usually do is we give the animal antibiotics and a supportive care so that we prevent secondary bacterial infection and also boost the immune system of the animal.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Zaki. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask a last question. I'm so, so grateful for you joining us today on Wellbeing. Thank you, sir.
All right, yeah,
Okay,
welcome.
do have a lovely day. Wow, we've been having these very interesting conversations on bird flu. And, a lot just went through my mind because most times you just see chicken on the streets and you just rush and go and eat it. The amazing thing about well-being is that we always emphasize take good care of yourself. I know that I wanted to say in the month of January, like as if you're not still inside January. Anyways, I know that the second week of this month, I talked about goals. You must set health goals for yourself. It's not just, for having flat tummy and six packs and all. Or maybe your own, I want to become this person, I want to become rich, I want to attain this height. You should also have health goals. For instance, I'm not going to eat any meat I have not cooked. If I decide to eat, meat outside, I have to be sure that this person is clean enough to handle what I'm going to take into my body. One of the ways that Dr. Zaki mentioned that you can actually get contacted with the flu is by eating uncooked meat. So imagine how many people you don't even know where the hen came from, right? You just buy and, get down with it. I never can tell that a virus could just be swinging inside your body. But then again, go for proper checkup. With something that we always say, on well-being, go for checkup. You never can tell. He mentioned symptoms like a respiratory issue. So if you notice that you're having a chest tightness or you're not breathing properly, go for a medical checkup. And also, if you notice you have running stomach, you have runny nose, you have a sore throat, and you own birds, please don't take antibiotics yourself. Go for proper, screening. And then lastly, Dr. Zaki actually talked about the essence of having a vegetarian doctor when you want to begin your poultry journey. Most times people just go to the farm, get the birds, and they start wearing them themselves. You never can tell. I think in the Bible it says 2 heads is better than one. Actually, 2 good heads actually is better than one. So imagine you own a poultry, but then you have a relationship with a vegetarian doctor who actually guide you on what to do and what not to do. I've seen people do a lot. I've seen people give normal drugs that human beings take just to birds, just because maybe you saw the bird looking very gloomy or weak, and then you just decide to pour antibiotics. Dr. Zaki confirmed today that it's absolutely wrong. Thank you so much for being a part of Wellbeing today. I used to say, imagine how much you could have spent, but yeah, we bring you this information in a platter of gold. If you want to be a part of this conversation, you want to someday, you are a doctor and you want to someday be a guest on a show, all you have to do is to go to our social media handles at www.spectrumtvlive.ng. All the social media, all our social media handles, you'll see it there. Reach out to us, let us know what you want to talk about, and we will bring you on today's show. Also, if you have a topic that you really want us to talk about, please reach out to us on our social media handles and we will get back to you. I love you so much. My name is Emedion James. Next week, we are going to talk about cholera. Seriously, because if you notice, cholera has actually killed over 30 people in just 2025. So how can cholera be controlled? What are the symptoms of cholera? How can we make sure that this year we live healthy, safe, and sound? Remember, health is not just the absence of disease or infirmity, but general well-being. You've been watching Wellbeing on Spectrum TV. I am Emedion James. Do have a